Join us as we delve into some of the hot topics that both unite and divide us. We won't always agree, but let's commit to having those difficult conversations and open up some thought-provoking dialogue so that together we can start the process of getting back together. Listen, we've thought about it. We've even thought about it. Now let's talk about it with yours truly, James Kirkland, on the Intellectual Stew. I know y'all on y'all way to heaven and enjoying the trip. I know y'all never mess up. I get it. But so many times, God told Elijah, gave him specific instructions. Get thee hence. Turn thee eastward. Hide thyself. Because I know somebody's trying to kill you. Hide thyself by the brook of Cherith. That is before Jordan. And it shall be that thou shalt drink of the brook, and I have commanded the ravens to feed thee. How is he drinking of the brook? And there's a drought in the land, and all the water supplies have dried up. But God knew exactly where to send him. Good things happen when you practice obedience. Good things just seem to happen when you practice obedience. Because look what verse number 5 says. So he went and did according unto the word of the Lord. He went and dwelt by the brook Cherith, that is before Jordan. And look at what happens. And the ravens brought him bread and flesh in the morning, and bread and flesh in the evening, and he drank of the brook. So every day, 2 meals a day. He didn't have Uber. He didn't have Uber Eats. He didn't have DoorDash. But he had Raven Express. And every day, and see what you got to understand about ravens is that ravens are carnivorous birds. Ravens eat meat. But even though they ate meat, they carried meat every day and Beak delivered it. I can't say hand delivered. Beak delivered it to Elijah. I don't know if he had chicken in the morning or bacon in the morning, and y'all new Negroes, y'all do this new stuff. He might have had chicken sausage in the morning and turkey bacon in the with turkey ground beef. I don't know. If it was me, bring me some lamb chops in the evening, and I'll take some bacon cooked medium in the morning. But every day, sirloin tips and biscuit. Every day, he brought him bread and flesh. And he had a constant water supply the entire time he was at the brook. Guess what we learned from this principle? What we learn is God's spirit will never leave us where he cannot keep us. And understand, what's up, Emmanuel? Understand what the word Cherith means in its Hebrew etymology. The word Cherith in its original connotation, it means the cutting room. Woo! When I studied that, man, and I saw that, man, that messed me up. That messed me up. That messed me up. He said he led him to the brook of Cherith. Cherith is the cutting room. So picture this. Think about a picture word. What Cherith can be equated to is a surgery center or the surgery room. And we have to have surgery when we find out that there's something that's working against our body, that's counterproductive, that's causing us where we're not able to produce like we should normally produce. Then we go through, the doctor would diagnose us and he'll correct whatever is wrong. So he'll prepare us for what's next, because after surgery, we go through recovery. And if we go through recovery and rehabilitation, a lot of times we come back stronger. So what Elijah was doing is Elijah was going through surgery, but catch this, as he went through surgery, it was like he was going through surgery, but he didn't have any anesthesia. He just had to go through it. Yeah. Can y'all imagine that? I go, when you go to the dentist, I mean, when I go to the dentist, give me the shot, the Novocaine shot. Before you give me the shot, give me the gas. I want the gas first. Then I want the shot. Then if you need another shot, give me another shot, because I don't want to feel any pain. Thank you. I appreciate you, Lisa. I don't want to feel any pain. I talk about that in my book, Stuck on the Couch, page number 7. I said, even when I was going through my process while I was stuck on the couch, right? Page number 7, I said this. I said, sometimes going through this process felt like surgery without anesthesia. I felt every incision, every suture. I heard the doctors diagnosing my situation. I was aware, but not coherent. I was marinating in misery, not realizing that God was imparting valley tactics. And that's what happens when we go through the pressures of life. But even when we go through it, God still supplies. Because while he's at the cutting place, while he's at the surgery center, whatever you want to call it, wherever. Okay, good. Thank you, Conjure. Another guy said he received his today too. While he was in this particular place, because you got to understand the cultural climate. The cultural climate, there's a drought in the land. Other folk are losing their mind. There's no food. We know the ramification. I told you earlier, those that didn't come on, that came on later, the ramifications of a drought are such. Rivers dry up. If the rivers dry up, you can't even manufacture irrigation systems. If there are no irrigation systems, the crops die. If the crops die, the animals die. If the animals die, the food chain is affected. When the law of supply, y'all know the law of supply and demand. When demand is high and supply is low, costs are inflated. But what about even when the costs are inflated, but there's no food? Oh, Myra, I know you've been kept through some chaotic times. Can you imagine going through surgery with no anesthesia? But the good part about it is that as Elijah went through it, because the psalmist said, I've been through the fire and I've been through the flood. But when I came through it, I came through in a wealthy place, right? So that means it's kind of like going through fire, Myra, but not smelling like smoke. Going through fire, going through water, and what, like I said, what might have drowned everybody else, here you are able to walk on. How? Unless it was God preparing you, because see, all Elijah could see was Cherith. He could just see the drought, but God saw Carmel. It's because he had a date in just a few more days. He had about with 450 false prophets, and while you looking at your now, God has already skipped over now and looked at your next. So he's saying, let me cut on you a little bit. Let me remove the stuff that needs to be removed. Let me. I'm not trying to make you bitter. I'm trying to make you better. And if you let me do what I'm doing, I've not only prepared Cherith for you, but I've also prepared Zarephath for you. Oh God. Because watch this. Cherith don't last always. Don't get too comfortable at Cherith. Because Cherith is just for a moment. Cherith don't listen, Myra, listen, Elder Smith. Don't put up a mailbox at Cherith, because that's not a permanent dwelling place. You're not going to get mail there. Don't put a forwarding address, because see, when you're at Cherith, you're going to get what you need, what's necessary for the next leg of the journey, and then you move on. Because verse number 7 said, and it came to pass after a while that the brook dried up. Yep. That's good, dude. I wish I could feel that like I felt that. After a while, the brook dried up. And if you know the story, because the scripture said he had to go to Zarephath. Zarephath if you look at it in this Hebrew etymology, it literally means the recovery room. It literally means I'm free. Am I froze right now? Am I back? It literally, no. It dried up. It dried up. It dried up. It dried up because it was a drought. It didn't rain for 3 years. 3 years. 3 years. And so the brook dries up. And see, sometimes the brook will dry up, and he'll do that on purpose. He'll do it on purpose. He'll dry up the brook just to make you move. Because we'll get so comfortable at Cherith, and we'll be so, I'm talking about me. I ain't got to talk about nobody else. We become so disconnected from everybody else. We'll be like, let them suffer the drought. God, as long as you're taking care of me, I'm cool. I'll stay right here. I'm comfortable. But no, if your purpose is bigger than that, he can't let you get comfortable at Cherith. He has to promote you so that you'll move. This is what I wrote. Surgery centers were not meant to be places of permanence. They serve their purpose, and then we're promoted to the recovery room. He had to go to Zarephath. And when he got there, he had to meet a certain woman who was also experiencing a drought that was getting ready to make her last cake. And he said, listen, before you make one, make yourself one. If you make me one, God will make sure that your meal barrel never runs out. And she trusted the man of God. And I believe that every miracle, every time God saw Elijah perform a miracle for him, it infused his faith, because what it did was it showed him that God could do it. And if you see God do enough, at a certain point, you'll believe that God can do anything. Maybe some of y'all hadn't seen God do enough. I don't know. Maybe you thought you did it yourself. I get it. Maybe some of y'all hadn't seen. He saw him feed. He saw every miracle. He saw a raven bring him meat and bread every day when he could have ate it. He saw water flow in a brook every day when everybody else in the world was experiencing a drought. Every day, all these things happen. So every time, and so then he goes to this woman's house, gets to the woman's house, says, feed me first, and you'll never be hungry again. He did it. And she nursed him back to health. He got back because he had to get the caramel. It's something that God is, because while we're in our now, moving towards our next, there's something in our next that we have that now is preparing us for. Oh, preacher used to say, with every new level, there's a new devil. And there's a devil on the next level that has some skill sets that you're not ready for until you master what's transpiring in your now. Yeah. Chaotic times come. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. In the world, ye shall have tribulation. John 10. But be of good cheer. Why? I've already overcome the world. It's some stuff. Is this your first time being broke? Sure ain't mine. But if he did it last time, chaotic times are going to come. But when they come, we insulate ourselves against those times. How do we do that? I give you Ephesians 6. Look at around in verse 11 to 12. It says, put on the whole armor of God. One of the things the whole armor consists of is what? The helmet of salvation. We have to guard our minds. There's so much negativity going on in the world right now. And the negativity is reaching us from so many angles. Programming is real. TV programming, radio programming, social media, all these types of things. If we're not guiding our ear gates, our eye gates, some of those things are going to show up in our heart. And when they show up in our heart, they're going to show up in our mental. And when they show up in our mental, we're going to start speaking those things out of our mouth. And do you realize that faith cometh by hearing? And if you keep saying it long enough, you'll believe it. I know people I've been accused of being in conversations that I know darn well I wasn't a part of. I think the people talking to them, whatever. I went an hour. How long? An hour and 2 minutes. Didn't even take a drink of water. What you hollering for? What I say? You got to stop saying the word broke. Change our mindsets, man. 2 Corinthians 4 said, I think I'm right. I could be wrong. But it says, in whom the God of this world hath blinded the minds of them, lest the light of the glorious gospel should be hid. Not the eyes. Some things are hidden from the eyes. Oh, God. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Some things are hidden from the eyes, but some things are hidden from the mind. Wow. That's. I've been in a drought. All of us have droughts, but it's how you approach the drought. You can approach it kicking and screaming, and I've been in several droughts. I was in a 17-year drought. If one day y'all gonna hear my whole testimony, I was in a 17-year. Now, Myra, I know you've been through some things. If y'all have never seen the show that I did with Myra, it's one of the shows that I did called "I Don't Look Like What I've Been Through." She has a very, very powerful testimony, and I know Myra probably got one of those "you can't make me doubt him because I know too much about him" testimonies. But literally go find that show, that episode on YouTube. I don't look like what I've been through with Myra. That one was. Do you mind if I say? Well, you can see it. Myra is a survivor of Hodgkin's lymphoma. She went to the doctor one day because she thought she was having sinus issues, and when she, not long after going and getting diagnosed, she found out she had stage 4 Hodgkin's lymphoma. But God, and all you gotta do is click on her picture, click on her name, and look at her profile, and she sure don't look like what she's been through. So you can see it for yourselves. And that was a drought, Myra. And from what I understood, you told me that during that drought, you had a laptop in your bed with you. You were still trying to work and still trying to do. It's how you approach the drought. It's how you approach the drought. That's the thing. How you approached the drought. But here's the thing: if God told you He's going to keep you during the drought, if He led, oh no, here it is. And I'm about to close. Unless somebody, if y'all, I don't even know if I can take phone calls tonight. I hope I can hear this good when I listen to it back. But here it is. Is He leading you during the drought? That's the question. Is He leading you during the drought? Because if He's leading you during the drought, I'm just of the sneaky suspicion that he'll never lead you where He can't keep you. I just don't think He will. And if I'm depending on Him, which I am, if I'm depending on Him to lead me, I'm gonna say it like the old church folk, you say, where He leads me, I will follow. Because I've been through some stuff. Even on that couch for a season, Lisa, I'll be honest, I must have taken off my helmet of salvation because I became the victim of stinking thinking. Yeah. I became the victim of stinking thinking. I thought the world was against me. I was offended. I was upset. I started playing the blame game. And you know what even worse, though? I turned on myself. I started feeling inadequate. I started feeling unworthy. Somebody told me, and I'm not going to say who, but somebody told me at one time, they said, no, I ain't going to say that because y'all might, no, I'm not going to say that. I'm learning to be wise. I'm learning certain things that I shouldn't say. But during that whole constant period of even while I was on the couch, God kept sending me reminders of who I am, who I was, who I am. what my purpose is, all those types of things, just glimpses, and every now and then I get a phone call, tell me come preach, or, and preaching was my therapy for the most part. And God would send me literal ravens, literal. Am I saying that right? Yeah. He would send ravens and they would sustain me. You should see, I had so many to-go plates in my refrigerator back then, because I was at the church almost every day because my pastor would not let me be alone. And back then, there was a lot of deaths. This is before the pandemic. A lot of deaths going on. And we had funerals all the time. So back then, that's when our kitchen would have the repast now. So I ate so much funeral food back then. So I had to-go containers, like chicken and green beans. I'm just eating good back in the day. I was putting on weight. But those were ravens. And I know how to recognize ravens. God has sent some of you spiritual ravens, and you need to go back and tell them thank you, because they help you get through your drought. I felt that. Some of us need to go back and think about the spiritual ravens that have helped us get through the spiritual droughts in our lives. And need to tell them thank you, because they fed you and sustained you and helped you get through some tough times when you probably would have lost your mind. I know Keith Wiggins, that's a raven. Pastor Greg Sutton, that's raven in my life. I've had some Rayfield Evans, raven in my life. Lakeisha, ravens, and those certain people were spiritual ravens, and they helped me. But then I realized also some of those ravens were only for a season, because at a certain point, the brook dries up. And when the brook dries up, at a certain point, God's going to turn the celestial faucet on again. Yeah. That seems logical, Lisa Smith, but we don't act like it. Why? Because we've been exposed. Chaotic times. The messages. We used to be loving people. We weren't violent people. None of those type of things. We picked those behaviors up, and now we perpetuate them on each other. We got to figure it out, because it done got late in the evening, and the sun is going down. Now you might want to read the rest of that story if you haven't read Elijah. Starting around 1 Kings 17. Read through it. Read through him going to Zarephath, and when he leaves Zarephath, he goes to the apex of the mountain. But before he gets to the apex, he challenges Ahab and Jezebel and tells them to bring those. First, he says it's going to rain again. He says it's going to rain again. Definitely says it's going to rain again. But then they end up having a showdown on the apex of a mountain where 450 false prophets showed up and called on their god Baal, cut themselves, all kind of things, making a sacrifice, hoping that Baal would show up, but Baal never showed up. But when Abraham said, I'm going to call on the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, not only did he show up, but he showed up in a physical manifestation. He showed up in a tangible way. He showed up as fire, and fire burned up the water and left steam and killed all. And Elijah ended up killing all the prophets and all these types of things, right? But would he have been able to have that type of strength if God had not sustained him in Cherith? And here it is. Some of us don't even realize it, because we were too busy kicking and complaining to realize that God was cutting on us because he was performing surgery. He was trying to carry us to another level. And at the end of the day, eventually the brook dried up. But some of us like to stay in dry places. Yeah. Lord, please help us recognize dry places when the brook dries up after we've gotten what it is we need. And then we can move to the next level or the next phase in life. So here it is, what we got to do. Guard our minds. even during these chaotic times, and understand that if we are faithful, if we are obedient, if we do what we are told to do, then God will sustain us. Not only that, but he'll also take us to the next level, because he'll give us what's necessary for the next phase of life. And all of us have a next phase of life. As long as you have breath in your body, as long as you have the activities of your faculties, as long as you're still attached to purpose, there's more to do. There's more to do. And work needs to be meaningful. Yeah. Work needs to be meaningful. Yeah. It's been a good night. I'm sorry. Like I said, today's been a rough day. I can't wait to pray and go to bed tonight. Like I said, today started off wrong. When I walked over to the gym this morning at 6:30 a.m., I'm going to try it again in the morning. But when I walked up to the gym at 6:30 this morning, I got stung by a wasp, a bee, or whatever it was. That just messed my whole day up. For real, for real. So, then I got a couple other things that happened during the course of the day. But I'm going to keep my mind. I'm not going to let it destroy me. Because it's not going to make me bitter. Because it's going to ultimately make me better. And guess what? Thank you, Viola. But guess what? And guess what the great part about this? So I could find a silver lining even in any situation, right? That happened at 6:30 this morning. I ain't gonna go that ain't no he nothing. God ain't sent no bee to sting me. I'm not at least I rebuke you that in the name of Jesus. I ain't going with that. But I will take it as a lesson. He ain't no. I'm not going with that. No, I refuse. But here's my point. That happened at 6:30 this morning. It's 10:19 p.m. now. I'm in Atlanta. I'm on Eastern time, and I'm still here. And I thank God. Oh, the bee got my attention. Okay, cool. Yeah, he definitely got my attention. Whatever it was. I'm still here. I'm still here. I have feet and I can feel, because some people would have gotten, if they don't have legs and they get stung in the leg, they won't even feel it. So that means I can walk. I can stand. All those things. It hurt. And I ain't gonna lie, because I got attacked by some ants a few weeks ago. So I called, they shouldn't ever gave me this virtual doctor thing. But I called every time I feel a pain. So I called, if I don't call Google MD first. First I called Google MD. But I said, listen, I got stung by a wasp, a bee or something, and it's been hurting for about 3 or 4 or 5 hours. What should I do? They say, well, it should only hurt 10 or 15 minutes. Are you allergic to bees? I said, I'm allergic to a lot of stuff. I'm not sure if I'm allergic to bees. I forgot. Anyway, so she called me in. So she told me to take an antihistamine, some Benadryl. Y'all know what happens when you take Benadryl. I was out of there like last year. I lost the whole day. Also she called me in some ibuprofen, but I'm going to live. It's still hurting a little bit, but it's not hurting nearly as bad as it was hurting this morning. So, but the bee did get my attention. But that happened at 6:30 this morning on my way to the gym. Alicia tried to give me, one of my Facebook friends, she tried to give me tough love and told me to don't give up, work through the pain. I said, girl, I don't respond to tough love. Anybody remember my show? I did a show on that. I don't respond to tough love. I stopped working. But I did go in and do about 50 push-ups and 50 sit-ups. But when I started trying to walk on the treadmill, it's right where it stung me at is right in my walking motion. So that hurt. So I came home and put ice compression on it. And I washed it and did all that stuff first and put some cortisone on all that stuff. But we'll be all right. I will live. But it's been a good show tonight. But I wanted to encourage you all, real talk. Chaotic times are going to come. It is. And it's just not the first time. 911 was a tough time for those that were around September 11, 2001. Those were tough times. We've been through a couple of recessions. Those were some tough times. Y'all better, okay, I thought you, all those tough times, been through it. But through all loss of I lost my mother, man. That was a tough time. Tough time. Lost my grandmother. I'll never forget 1994. Tough time. Daddy had a heart attack in 95, I want to say, 96. Tough time. Had another one a couple of years ago. Tough times. But through all of the tough times, I'm still here. I've survived 100% of everything I've gone through. And I'm not the only one. You, whoever's listening to me talk right now, you have survived 100% of everything that you have gone through. Some of y'all just need to organize your faith file. And when you reorganize your faith file, it's going to remind you of some of the stuff that he brought you through. However you think you got through it. You might have felt like you did it yourself. That's cool, do it. But reorganize your faith file. Every now and then, just look at that mental Rolodex and say, yeah, he brought me through this. And he brought me through that. And he brought me through that too. And wow, he brought me through that. I almost forgot he brought me through that. And if he did all of that, guess what else he's going to do? He's going to do this. Then he's going to do that. Then he's going to do that. And if he don't do it, he's already done enough. I'm done. If he doesn't do it, if he doesn't do it, I sing it. Doesn't change my ability. I don't know the words. I heard the song. Hold on. Yeah, good stuff. Elijah survived the drought. And after the drought, he came out stronger. But he rehabilitated. He didn't amputate. That was shade. I'm sorry. All right. So it's been real. Appreciate you all for listening in tonight. As I always say at the end of the night, if you want to bless the platform, I will put the Cash App up. I appreciate the sponsors who do support. I do appreciate the sponsors who do support. But if you want to support as well, cash, $ money sign, the intellectual stew, you can participate. And I'm going to try to have a good lesson for y'all every week. Thank you, Kanjua, for encouraging people to share. I'm going to try to have a good lesson for you all every week. But listen, I don't want this to always be a dialogue. Sometimes I want y'all to jump on and have these conversations with me. But I like staying on topic. Y'all know how I am about that. Don't get off on. Let's stay on topic and stay on topic. But he will keep us during chaotic times. All right? So I don't have anything else to say. So I'm going to say good night, and I will catch you all, if the Lord says the same. I'll catch y'all next week. Appreciate you.
Intellectual stew.